Coaching, 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 coaching. Any and all and every kind of question you could ever have about coaching, this is your opportunity during this particular lesson. Just tell me, say it, ask it, whatever you want to do, I got you. All right? So you have all of the information pulled up. When I say coaching, what comes to mind?
Helping.
Helping, okay. What else? Instructions. All right. Sort of. We're going to talk about what coaching is and what coaching is not. Because a lot of times people use words, just like y'all learn, people use the word strategy and they don't know what they're talking about, right? Oh, I just designed a strategy. Let me see it. No, you did not. That's not a strategy. Same thing with coaching. I'm going to coach this person. Or I have a coach. I have a coach. Well, what does your coach do? They give me instructions. Ooh, not a coach. Now, they can still be a coach and give instructions, right? Because people are all types of things. They're coaches, they're mentors, they're trainers, they're supervisors, they're leaders, they're managers, they're all of that in one person. So you could be coaching for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 minutes and then shift to training and instruction. And the person may view you as a coach even though you're given instructions. And so therefore, are you coaching? Sort of, but you're not specifically coaching in the classic sense. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right. Use effective coaching practices to improve everyday interactions with employees. What that means is you have a lot of tools in your toolbox. Coaching is one of them. How do you use it? When do you use it? What's the impact? What's the purpose? What are the different ways you can use it, etc., etc.? This is what we're going to get into. All right, your role, identify opportunities to participate in coaching activities. You may have a coaching opportunity and miss it because you just weren't paying attention to it, you didn't know about it, you weren't thinking about it. So what we want to do is put this in your brain. So now you can be walking down the hallway with somebody at work, you can be on the elevator, and a coaching opportunity comes up and you're like, whoa, I could talk to this person and help them. I can help them become aware. I can help them discover something about themselves that they didn't know. I've been doing that all week with you. I've been coaching you without being that classic coach, right? We're not sitting down one-on-one. I don't have you on Zoom for 45 minutes. You know, what do you want to talk about today? What's showing up for you today? We're not doing any of that. But I guarantee you, throughout this week, you discovered something about yourself. And I was deliberate in asking the right questions, excuse me, for you to discover that. So, you now are able to do that for your people. Okay. What words come to mind when you think of coaching? We just talked about a few. Anyone else? What comes to mind when you think about coaching?
Guidance.
Guidance, okay. Why?
Because in a coaching session, I'm not trying to make someone do what they don't know what they need to do. I'm trying to get them to realize what they need to do is what they want to do.
Yes, you're guiding. You're guiding. You may have boundaries, right? So they don't go too far to the right, too far to the left. You may help them to discover things within their own headspace by guiding them. Speaking of guiding, I often tell people, especially my new clients, as a coach, I say, and I learned this from my coach, do you know how to dance, to do the tango, right? In the tango, someone leads, someone follows. As a coach, I follow. The coachee, the client leads. So whatever direction they're going, I follow them, but I help guide them, all right? And so to that end, you have to be conscious. I almost said something like, what's one of the most powerful tools a coach has? I just said that. So, what's one of the most powerful tools a coach has?
Experience.
Experience, yes.
Influence.
Influence, yes. But one of the most powerful tools they have is the ability to listen. the ability to listen. Now I'm jumping around in this book, and some of the stuff that I'm going to say is not in this book, but your ability to listen. When you are coaching, you want to be able to listen more than you speak. And you want to be able to ask open questions. We talked about that earlier. Because then once they start talking, you get information for you to listen to in order to guide them down the path of discovering something inside of themselves that they didn't even know about, that helps them to become the best version of themselves, a better employee, a better technician, all right? And they grow. They grow. They grow personally, they grow professionally, they grow. All right, defining coaching. Well, we talked about the difference between therapy, coaching, mentoring, and consulting. So coaching is helping people, it's guiding people. Coaching is helping someone bring out of themselves that which is in there that's going to be good, it's going to help them benefit in all kinds of capacities. But that's what coaching is. You're helping the individual to discover something within them that they can work with, that they can hold themselves accountable to, that they can grow, even transform. Therapy is therapy, right? That's a whole different area, and I'm not licensed, and unless you are licensed, then how can you be a therapist? So that's not coaching. And then mentoring, they want to be like you when they grow up. You have experience, you have knowledge, you've been around, you have mastered certain things. You are now in the position to mentor someone in a guild, in a task, in a field, in technology, in carpentry, and plumbing, and all these other things, because you're the expert. So you're going to mentor somebody in the craft of which you are an expert. And then there's consulting. As we said before, consulting, they deal with deliverables, they deal with task orders, they deal with statements of work. They have people asking them questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? And consultants give you the answer. They'll do the study for you. They're doing a lot of the work for you. That's not coaching. That's consulting. And the reason why I say that is because you need to know the distinctions. Doesn't mean that you can't do all of those. It just means that you need to know where you are, when you are, so that you're deliberate, you're intentional about coaching. Right, Mateo?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Coaches help employees discover their strengths and areas for growth to best achieve personal goals, but also professional goals. All right? So you're helping them to discover. How? By guiding them, just like you said. Work in tandem with the employee to determine the roles and responsibilities that align with personal aspirations. So you're working with them to help them to discover that, right? Now it says tandem. Remember I told you about doing that dance, like the tango? Yes, it's not a one-way transmission. You're working with them. It's their life. It's their head. It's their head space. It's their growth and development. It's their transformation. So you're working in tandem with them for them. That's the other thing. As a coach, it's never about you. Ever, ever, ever. So there are some people who, for whatever reason, anytime they're talking, it is always about them. That's not the mindset of a coach. The mindset of a coach is I am 100% focused and dialed in on you and helping you. And so anything you say, think, feel, or do, I'm absorbing that energy to understand how to matrix that energy back at you just for you. And I'm never part of the equation. That's a coach. That's a good coach. That's a good coach. Provide frequent and substantial guidance, and feedback. A coach sees and hears and experiences the coachee, your employee. Yes.
So when is it a good time, as you say it's never about us as we're coaching, when is the appropriate time to give examples that may be about us to help explain something that they're not understanding?
Yeah. So, good question. And anytime. Because you are trying to help the individual, and for whatever reason, like you just said, it's something they don't understand. You're working with them, they don't understand. You're listening to them and mirroring it back, they don't understand. You're helping them to elicit information and they still don't understand. And you may have examples that can help them understand. So you're using yourself a scenario, and that's kind of sliding to the mentoring side, right? Remember I said you can do that. So you're kind of taking your coaching hat off for a minute, and you're putting your mentoring hat on, even though this is the space of coaching. And you're going to give them an example that may resonate with them. You're a Marine. You may be talking to another Marine. You're trying to help this Marine with information. They're not getting it. All right, let me tell you about Fallujah. Right? Let me tell you about Djibouti. Let me tell you about when we were in the desert and what happened, right? And so now it resonates with them. They get it. It's an aha moment. It makes sense. And now you go back to coaching. Does that make sense? All right. Good question, though. Anyone else? So, encourage employees to take on new challenges. Yeah. See, as a coach, you are in the perfect position to bring folks out of their comfort zone. And some of it is a comfort zone, or it is just the space they like to hide in, right? So as a coach, again, you see that, which they may not see, and it's not your responsibility to make them do certain things, but it is your responsibility to help them to grow. And part of the growth is new challenges. Now, in your capacity, we talked about that. Some people don't want to be, what did you call it, level 10? Or level 12, right? Well, you need them to take on new challenges. Some people don't want to supervise anybody. They just want to do the job and go home. Okay? How do you coach them? How do you coach them to take on new challenges? You don't just tell them to take on new challenges. Look, I need you to do this. So tomorrow you have just been reassigned to Daryl on swing shift, and you're going to do that. Well, that's one way to do that, and you might get somebody kicking and screaming and scratching. They don't want to do that. Or you can be a coach and help them to discover why this is good. Help them to discover why they are good. Help them to discover that even though it's new, you have a lot of experiences that you're going to be able to knock this out of the park. Help them to discover that we have a support system here. You're not going to be in there by it. So when they start discovering these things that they don't know about, they may actually like green eggs and ham. They do. They will eat them on a boat. They will eat them with a goat. They will eat them on a train. They'll eat them in the rain. They will eat them here and there. They'll eat them anywhere. That's coaching. Sam, I am. That's coaching. Step aside and let employees try new ideas. Sometimes you can get in your own way, right? I'm so good at what I do. I know this stuff in and out. All right, shut up. Step aside. You did good. Let them learn. Remember we talked about on Monday, how you were not going to let your employees do something that required them to do it at a high level, because if it's not right, the executives above are going to be calling you up, emailing you, and it's just going to be a bad scene. And we kind of had a little debate. Do you let it happen and you just take the L in the sphere of helping this person to grow and develop, or never let them fail because you never let them do that? This is where coaching comes in. This is where coaching comes in. Now, on Monday, I deliberately did not talk about coaching at the time because I knew it was going to pop up. But now, can you see how the difference would be if you were coaching that person to be able to say these high-level jobs or briefings or presentations, right? At some point, they should be able to be you. And they don't necessarily have to send an email because you coached them. You coached them. You know that you know because you coached them. And they're good at what they do because you coached them. So why do you need an email? You already know they're good. You already know what's going to happen because you're the one that coached them. Does it make sense now? Yeah. And then after that, guess what you get to do? Kick your feet up on the desk for 3 hours and do absolutely nothing. I'm telling you, man, this coaching stuff works. All right. So, benefits of coaching. There are so many benefits to coaching. If you're not a coach, if you don't know how to coach and you don't coach, you will not get these benefits. But if you are a coach and you know how to coach and you put a little bit of energy and effort into getting good at being a coach, look at all of these benefits that will occur because you are coaching, right? To the individual, develop greater capability for problem solving. Don't you want your people to be able to problem solve instead of coming to you all the time with problems? Right? Steve, I got a problem. Bill, I got a problem. All right. What's your solution? That's what you're for. But if you coach them in problem solving, now maybe they don't come to you with problems so often. Right? Commit to action more readily because they're confident. As a coach, you're coaching people to be more confident. Build skills and confidence, just said that, right? To take more complex assignments, practice more autonomy in future-related challenges. Remember autonomy, and remember in one of the lessons we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I think we were talking about delegation. Autonomy. You want your people to be able to just say, I got it. You go play golf. You go down the hall. You go to the popcorn place at 6 a.m. You go do X, Y, and Z. All right, I have this under control. Autonomy. Generate solutions, right, that are not compromised by your views. In other words, you have coached them in the national security strategy of the United States. You have coached them in the strategic plan of your agency. You have coached them on the various things that happen when you are aligning the 4-year plan to the 1-year plan. They know all of this stuff, so therefore they're not going to compromise the views because they know the alignment. How many people even know what the word alignment means in your office, let alone what alignment is for your office? You can coach them in that, and now you don't have to talk about it no more. They got it. Make sense? Begin to trust leaders more and develop better rapport with them. Yes. Bring them into the world of understanding. Bring them into the world of understanding the things that they don't, and you can coach them in that. And of course, the organization benefits significantly, right? Communication skills, interpersonal skills. We've talked about communication and interpersonal skills. That's another class, but we did talk a few things about that here. And not everybody has good communication skills, right? I was dyslexic and illiterate coming up, so I didn't have good communication skills. My command of the English dictionary was very shallow, right? So I didn't know what words meant because I didn't know the words. Every now and then, I still see a word like chamois. You know what a chamois is, to wash your car? But you know how to spell that word? I'm like, how the heck that is chamois? You know, so therefore I never even said the word because I couldn't spell it. It didn't make no sense. Give me a cloth, drying cloth, right? But when you help them to improve their communication skills and interpersonal skills, they grow, the organization grows, people around them grow. It makes your job not as hard. I listened to some of you tell me how hard your job is as a result of some people. Maybe they just need coaching. Maybe they just need coaching. All right, promotes managing a work-life balance. How about that? Maybe some people just work too hard. You ever have those people who work so hard that it is a badge of honor to tell everybody how hard they work? Oh yeah, I put in 15 hours. You think that's a good thing? Oh yeah, I put in 15 hours. I work 7 days a week. I don't take lunch breaks. Oh, and that's a good thing? All right, that's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is maybe you don't have command of your 1,440 minutes. Maybe you don't realize that it's taking you 2 hours to do something that should only take you 20 minutes. And therefore you are working 15 hours and you think that's a good thing. So a lot of times people are that way because they've not been coached. They've not been coached in alternate ways, in other ways of doing business. They haven't even been coached that there's a thing called work-life balance. Invariably, when I'm coaching senior leaders, that pops up all of the time. Reggie, can you help me with my work-life balance? High-level executives work, but they have a family and they have other things they want to do. You know, they don't get to do it as much because they're working so hard. Because they think that the harder they work, the more stuff gets done. Not always. Not always. Right? And so, organizational skills, productivity, and time management. The stuff is getting done. That's based on the national security strategy of the United States. That's based on the strategic plan of your organization. It's getting done. Why? Because you coached people. You coached people. You coached your employees. You cared enough to help them. This is a big deal. And of course, new job training. So, roles of a leader. Here you are. Can supervisors coach? Yeah. Can managers coach? So you don't just have to be a coach, but there are roles. Just like we were talking about consultants, mentors, coach, there are roles. And so supervisor, you want to make sure that the employee has the resources that they need. Mentors, you want to provide advice and guidance, like I said, based on your experience. And this is what coaches do. However, can you be the same person? Can a supervisor, mentor, and coach be the same person?
Yes.
Yeah. So all of this is you. All of this is you. You are a supervisor, you are a mentor, and you are a coach. Amongst a lot of other things. And you can do all of that at the same time. You can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. You can supervise, mentor, and coach at the same time. All right, let's do this exercise. This is a group exercise. I want you to stay in the groups that you are in currently. And this is a 15-minute exercise to analyze workplace situations in which coaching is appropriate. So, you're going to work in your group. There are 4 scenarios, I believe. Yes, 4 scenarios. You're going to read through the scenarios and determine whether coaching would be useful in helping the employee. If it is appropriate, describe how coaching could be used to improve the situation. How can coaching be used to improve the situation? And I'm going to listen to your answers because your answers should be coaching, not mentoring, not consulting, not just training. It's a distinction. All right?